Welcome to Heartspeak Podcast, episode 70. Standing in your own beautiful light. Well, I hope you're enjoying moving with me through this merging with the moon, resetting our natural rhythms. I've certainly become fascinated looking up at the moon and watching these different phases, literally how it changes every night. I hope you're doing the same. And I think that as I'm looking out, you're looking out. We're all sharing this experience. This is why I started this series of podcasts, because the one factor that unifies us is the moon. We may see the sun in different phases depending where we're living, but the moon is the same. Just as the earth is the same, rooting ourselves into Mother Earth, going really deep as we've done, is rooting ourselves to the flow of energy that goes through our root chakra, the gift of creativity that we can all tap into. And as I might say, is the most sustainable energy out there. This is what Tesla knew all those years back, that if we could really tap into that deep energy, we wouldn't need any other force or fuel source. This is it. And here we are, we're coming up to our full moon, the full moon which is going to be in Scorpio, which is when the moon is furthest from the sun in astrology. It's opposite the sun. And it shines out. It's shone by the sun, or this face of the moon that we see is lit up. And so my question to you, are you ready to be lit up? Are you ready to be seen? Are you ready to shine? Are you ready not to hide? And this phase of the moon can be one where we might feel, oh, not me, I can't do it. Someone else can do it. So if we're born with this phase of the moon, then we may find ourselves always looking for someone else that we can hide behind, or someone else who's going to make us perfect, or someone else, or some guru or teacher who's going to come along and be the one who shows us who we are, until we realize that we are the perfect partner. We are the perfect teacher. We are the perfect guru. And when we acknowledge our own light, our own perfection, then we can shine. Now, once again, that perfection is not about perfect as in good and bad, right and wrong. This is about you're already perfect. You're already beautiful. You were born beautiful. You were born perfect, but in an energetic form. So all we have to do is express that energetic form out there into the world. How do we do that? We follow our intuition. We follow our heart. So our heart, our intuition guides us to experience or to create events so that we experience ourselves in our fullness. You've heard me say this many times. But it's really good, again, I'm always saying celebrate yourself, but to look back and say, how did that particular event allow me to know myself more fully? And I've had many, many times in my life that I've shared with you where I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. But when I got there, I went, oh, that's why that's happening. You know, I've shared with you that it wasn't easy for me to become a doctor because I was so sensitive to other people's feelings, other people's suffering, that I took that on as a child. And I would faint or disappear, become very shy, because I didn't know how to have boundaries. And ironically, my soul said, no, you need to become a doctor. And it could have said anything else, you know, go anywhere where people don't suffer. That would have been the wise thing to do. But my soul had a different idea. And it said, no, you need to learn how to create healthy boundaries. You need to learn how to be a doctor. And I love being a doctor. I love all the things. I loved the pathology, the physiology, the surgery, the delivering babies, being with people. I mean, the richness of the experiences I've had as a doctor. And it's opened doors where other things wouldn't have done. And me being able to say I'm a doctor allows me to sometimes go into places that other times I would be blocked. And I've had amazing experiences meeting other doctors from around the world. I remember back in the 80s, I visited the Soviet Union. And yes, there were differences between the way in which I lived my life, they lived their life. But as doctors, we see the same thing. We're operating on the same type of patient. We're delivering the same type of baby. Nothing like that changes. And so we had a common language. And it feels that we're in this time now where we're looking for a common language. That's why I'm using the moon. It's a common language. That's why I use nature. It's a common language. We need to find places we connect, not where we find opposites, not where we find differences. And we do that as a family, don't we? Well, we won't talk about those things, but we'll talk about these things. But beyond that commonality, it's also the ability, the stronger you feel, the more you stand in your own light, the stronger you feel to be able to accept other people's points of view. Because it doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree. As I say, new information doesn't make it right or wrong. It allows you to grow. That might sound strange, but I love listening to other people's points of views. It doesn't mean I then say, well, I'm going to throw away mine and I'm going to totally accept them. But I watch where some people's points of views enhance the inner knowing that I have. And sometimes I say, no, that doesn't resonate with me. Or maybe because it doesn't resonate with me, it actually strengthens my own inner knowing. Does that make sense? So I hope that as I share these podcasts and you share other things with me, do go to my website. I've got lots of interviews there, and I've got lots of talks and videos from when I did talks in conferences. So please, there's lots of things there, but don't have to take it all on board. You just have to say, okay, that enhanced something I already knew. And that's what I'm about. I'm not here to tell you or teach you, you have to follow my dogma. I'm here to say, I'm helping you to remember who you are. And that's the quality of the Saturn in Aquarius that we have at the moment. I'm only saying in the moment because she's about to go backwards. But at the moment, we are being inspired to remember who we are. And as we remember, bring those parts of ourselves back to our hearts, then our light becomes stronger and we're more willing to be the full moon. That makes sense? So anything you're listening to at the moment, don't reject it out of hand. Just say, does this enrich my knowingness? Does this enrich my light? Does this make me shine more brightly because of this? Or do I let it go? And we could say the same about the virus at the moment. Virus is just a piece of information. We're still rather mystified whether or not it actually exists. I have to say that because the virus itself has not been able to be fully isolated, which is why they're having trouble finding an antibody. That's another side journey that you might like to join me on when I'm talking on my webinars. But the fact of the matter is, a virus is a piece of information, just a piece of information. So the information is not rejected, but many of us are, we could say, carrying that virus in a little while, creating antibodies ourselves. But what it's doing is saying, how does this piece of information help you? But it's not the virus on its own, it's the circumstances. So what you're noticing is that there's much more information coming out, not about whether you should wash your hands and all that is okay, but who's driving the bus? Who's earning money from this? Who are the people who are really stepping up? Who are the people who are being exposed? That makes sense? So this light that's shining at this time, fascinating thing about it is it's really shining on everything that we're doing in our community, everything we're doing in the world. So when you see the full moon, not just say, wow, look at me standing in that light, but look at everything being lit up by that full moon, everything being exposed. And because the full moon is in Scorpio at this moment in time, or it's going to be, I think, on the 7th, what's going to happen is that everything that has been deeply hidden, everything that has been a secret is being lit up at this time. And I'm all for that. I'm horrified when I listen to the 40% of increase of messages about domestic abuse, childhood abuse, sexual abuse, people being killed, people committing suicide. This lockdown has been devastating for a lot of people. because mentally they can't deal with it. They don't want to be around these families. They are not safe. And I'm not suggesting that the other people haven't had this as a very rich experience. But being put in a time pressure cooker has been very, very difficult for a lot of people. Mothers who have got to homeschool their children, fathers who are homeschooling, fathers who are not feeling that they're valued. And I'll say that because men more than women find value more in their work than they do necessarily in the family. Now, I'm making a big stereotype, so please apologize if that's not true for you. But I'm saying women have always been able to be more adaptable because of following the moon. Whereas men have much more of an attitude of this is who I am and this is my purpose. So when that's taken away, it's much more devastating. More heart disease, more cancers, feeling not valued. So I'm not wanting to depress you in all of this, but I feel that the full moon in Scorpio is really shining a light on areas of our life that we have wanted to keep hidden. Do you understand that? So maybe you're clearing out your closets. I know that here at home, my husband has been clearing out the garage, which I've been waiting for a while. But we've been doing a lot of jobs. I know that lots of people are doing jobs around their home. And we're really looking at what do we want to keep and what do we want to let go of. And that's really a key for this time. With the sun in Taurus opposite the moon in Scorpio, Taurus is all about holding on to things, I have to say. And Scorpio is all about chaos, letting things go. So where are you holding on to things? Where are your possessions, your fear of not having enough, your fear of insecurity, being challenged by Scorpio, who's coming along as the great crone, the Pluto energy that's in Capricorn? Don't want to lose you, but Pluto is ruled by Scorpio. Pluto is presently in Capricorn. Capricorn is about what's my structure by which I feel secure. So with Scorpio full moon, Pluto in Capricorn meeting together, they're saying, what of my structure is no longer giving me the security I thought it did? Where am I kidding myself? And this might be, well, I stay in this marriage because it's financially secure. But maybe during these times you're saying, that doesn't matter. My life is not secure. My emotions are not secure. I don't feel safe in this place. Maybe I need to make a change. Maybe you're staying in a job because it gives you medical health insurance or it gives you something. And you're saying, actually, I'm dying in that situation. I really need to get out. So I'm being fairly strong here, but I'm wanting you to understand that this time of the full moon is, where am I hiding? Where am I being small? Where am I putting up with something? And I want that wonderful golden light that comes up from the beneath your feet. Remember, we clean down with silver light. We bring up the golden light. And maybe I'll do that just at the end of this podcast. I want you to bring that light up and say, I'm no longer hiding. I'm no longer going to be less than I am. I want to shine like that full moon. And even in the midst of chaos, I'm not fearful of death in a sense of, I know that sometimes I have to let go of things for something else to emerge. That's that cocoon we're in. That's Scorpio. I'm willing to be in confusion. I'm willing to experience chaos and confusion because I know that that is often the prelude to something better. Does that make sense? So just, you might say, yes, but I don't know which is the next step I've got to take. Tell me what I've got to do, Christine. No, letting go means not knowing, being in mystery, but always trusting that great mother love for you that says, I'll hold you and we will let something new grow inside you. And we've been doing that as we've come through this waxing moon. We've allowed ourselves to embrace new ideas, even if we had no idea what that's going to look like. The letting go is the harder. The breathing out is the hardest bit. You're always going to breathe in. You're always going to be filled anew. But the breathing out has to happen. In my women's work, I talk about taking out your bowl out of your womb as a bowl. So I'm saying is often we will take things into our body, or we'll take people into our psyche, into our energy field, and our bowl becomes full. Our uterus becomes full because that's the place of transformation. And why does it become full? Because A, nobody's told us that we use our periods or the dark moon to let go. But B, we're often scared of letting go. We're saying, well, if I don't have this, who am I? But women more than men, and I love those men who are listening to this, but we all have a bowl. In the men, it's the prostate. But the fact of the matter is, every night, I want you to empty that bowl, be empty, and know that in the morning, you fill up with something new. I'll do that meditation with you before we finish. But when we're full of rubbish, when we're full of things that we're holding on to, like the things in our garage, when we're hoarding things, the thoughts, possessions, there's no room for anything new. Now, I know you've been doing a lot of clearing out. And because you've been clearing out, the light can shine through you because you're not so polluted with everything else. Make sense? So the more you clear what is not essential, the more you clear those things that you've been holding on to from fear, the more your light can shine. And you've been doing a fabulous job of clearing things. But the greatest pollution is not in the sky, it's in our heads. It's in our emotional body. So you're doing a great job of saying, I choose not to hold on, because it's like having, I don't know, old dirt around a jar. When you clean that beautiful jar, clear away all the dirt, your light can shine. Does that sound good for you? So we're going to be bringing up this energy. I want you to recognize just how far you've come, not just in this last month, but in life itself. How many risks you've taken to get to where you are. Yes, you've had teachers along the way. Yes, you've had messengers along the way. You've had mentors that we talked about. But each time they enriched you by seeing you, by knowing you. I've had many lives of, I should say many times in my life when I'd have loved to know who I was. I went to all these mediums as a child because that's how I was brought up. And yes, they all helped, but I was never really felt I was seen. And then I met this wonderful kahuna, this wonderful man from Hawaii who said, I know who you are. I saw you. Did he tell me who I was? No. But he says, I saw you. I know who you are. When he said, I saw you, it meant, he said, I remember you from way back. We were in the same canoe. Now that might mean nothing to you, but it meant so much to me. Just even the fact that I was in a canoe with him, didn't know where we were going. It was a metaphor. It was a mythology. And I hope that when you meet me, I hope you feel seen by me, known by me. That doesn't mean that I'm then going to say, well, this is what you need to do. But for someone to see your light, to see who you are, and to say, I see you, encourages us to shine fully. Does that make sense? Because all we want in this life is to shine. We don't want to hide. We want to shine not in a way of, hey, look at me, look how important I am, but am I fully expressing my inner blueprint out in this world? And when someone says, yes, you are, even if you have no clue what that looks like, it feels good. So again, I'm trying not to give you too many mythologies. Go back in your life. Where have you come? What did you gather from different jobs you've had, different relationships you've had? How did you shine more fully because of that? And also, how did you help other people to shine more fully? So Scorpio, the Scorpio full moon is so much about being a transformer. Where are you acting as a transformer for other people? Many of us do that. And we think, why is it that just when I get close to someone and they change, they leave me? Because you're a transformer. Maybe they die. I've had a lot of people die on me in the nicest sense. But in many ways, whatever our relationship was about, they got what they needed in order to die, to transform. And this is what's going on at this moment. This is a huge period of transformation. A doorway is opened, and it's allowing some people to pass through and what we call die, and some people to transform. But the stronger your inner light, the less baggage, as I've said to you before, you're carrying, the easier it is to pass through that portal. And on this day in Ireland, in the Hill of Uisneach, this is particularly on this particular day, they're lighting a fire. They're lighting a fire because this place is seen as the navel, the center of the earth, or center of Ireland, excuse me. And if so many different countries have what we call an umbilicus, or an axis mundi, or a omphalos, which means it's like the umbilical cord through which that country, that town was developed. And these are portals in their own right. So you could say that one of your portals is also your heart, but it may also be your womb. And what I'm saying here is what you've done so brilliantly is be born out of, you remember we were born out of the darkness of the earth, and we're now shining. And as they're lighting this light in this place called the Hill of Uisneach in Ireland, that light will be seen by different parts of Ireland, and beacons will be lit. And that's what's always happened around the world, that one light will be lit, and there will be beacons on other hills that will also be lit. It's a unifying energy. All right. If you watch Lord of the Rings, that's how they motivated others to join them, was by lighting beacons. And all I'm saying is, during this time of this full moon, would you light a candle, probably not a fire, but a candle, and just say, I am lighting this candle in reference to my own inner light. And when you look at the full moon, will you look at it and realize that as you connect your inner light, be it you from your heart, your womb, from your whole body, you're literally being a beacon of light for everybody. The moon is a beacon, you're a beacon, and when other people see the moon, they're seeing your beacon, you're being seen. And we're all connecting. And when we do that, we connect to everybody. So those who are lonely, those who are lost within their own homes, those who are frightened, if they look up at the moon and they see the full moon, they're also seeing us. They're seeing the beacon in all of us that is saying, I'll shine, I see you, please shine in yourself. You're literally encouraging others to break free of dark situations that are not working for them, to see the moon, to see the connection that we all have, and together our lights will shine. I hope that fills your heart with the joy it does for me today. So shall we just do that small meditation? I'm going to suggest that we imagine that we gather into ourselves often other people's energy, old stories, trying to help other people. And we bring that, for women, we put it in our womb. And even if you haven't got a womb, it's that you have an etheric womb, an energetic one. And for men, it will be the prostate. It's the place of nurturing. So if you'd just like to close your eyes for a moment, again, only do that if you can, close your eyes. And as you now know, take those few breaths, breath in, breath out. Long out breath down through your body. Really be focused. It doesn't matter if you're lying down, but just be focused on on where your feet are. You're breathing down through your feet into the earth. And I ask you to take your awareness to your womb or your prostate, through your, it's where your sacral chakra is, under your umbilicus. And through that sacral chakra, that hara, see yourself by water. That might be on an ocean, it might be a lake, it can be a river, but you can hear the water, and it's soft water, it's lapping, it's gentle. Just be aware of the ground under your feet. Sand, rock, stone, grass. And you realize that it's just coming towards the evening. You can see that beautiful full moon. She's just rising as the sun sets. And you walk up towards the water, listening to the sound of it, smelling the air. And you imagine that you can take your womb, your uterus, or your prostate out of your body, and they are a beautiful bowl, a jar, a bowl, something that's so beautiful. It's very ancient. And you see that maybe it needs a little bit of cleaning, it's a little tarnished, but it's also full of old energy, full of old dreams that are never going to happen, old energies or emotions that you've experienced, but it's time to let go of them. There's also people in there that you've tried to help, but they don't want to be helped. There may even be old fears that you say, okay, I'm ready to let that go. I'm not going to give that any more focus. So go to the water, tip the jar, the bowl upside down, and ask the great water, the great love of the great mother, to transform, to take all of this, clean it. And if you can, just wash your bowl out, so make sure nothing's stuck inside. Other people's energy you have taken in. Just give your bowl a nice little polish, a clean, before you put it back into your body. Step away from the water. And now see that beautiful full moon, a silvery full moon. And see it above your head. And allow that full moon to descend over you. And as it does, it clears anything else that needs to be taken away from you so that your light can shine. You don't have to think about what it is, but let this silver moon pass down through your body, washing you down, clearing you out. And now look back at the moon and how it is being reflected on the water. I'm sure you've seen that happen. And again, just allow that reflected light on the water. Imagine dissolving into it. Dissolving any separation that you may feel between yourself and the Great Mother, yourself and the world of spirit. And dissolving away anything that keeps you separate from the love that's there for you and from being seen fully in your own light. and say to yourself, I'm seen, my heart is heard, my heart is heard, my feelings are felt. I am known for who I am. And I am loved. Once again, I am seen, my heart is heard, my feelings are felt. I'm known for who I am, and I am loved. And return to look at that full moon in the sky, and as your beacon of light that you are, imagine that you can send that message to anybody in the world, maybe someone you know, just maybe people you know who are suffering, people who feel alone, people who are in the darkness. And imagine that they are looking at that full moon. And we're together, we're looking, we're connected through the full moon. We're connected through our hearts, our wounds, our love. And say to them now, I see you. I hear your heart. I feel your feelings. I know who you are and your beautiful light. And I love you. And let us send that love around the world to everybody who's scared of being who they truly are and shining, because this is a time to shine. Now you can return to this particular meditation anytime you want, especially as you're watching the full moon. But just for now, to bring your awareness gently back to the room where you are. When you're ready to open your eyes. And I send you love and blessings until next time. Please pass on this message to anybody you know. Let us share together the beauty that we have within us, around us, and is always waiting to show us just how loved we are. Blessings now. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the HeartSpeak podcast with Dr. Christine Page. Please check out all HeartSpeak episodes in the podcast archive section on www.christinepage.com. HeartSpeak is also available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and now playing on iHeartRadio. You can also watch the archive podcasts on YouTube. Connect with Christine on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, including her newest Facebook group, The Great Mother Calling. Do share with family, friends, colleagues. Join us next time for another edition of HeartSpeak.